Good evening. This is Gay Spirit, a program of information and entertainment for the lesbian and gay community of the greater Hartford area.
Every time we think about same-sex marriage, makes us sick to our guts. I mean, to people who want to commit to a stable, monogamous, lifelong relationship, what are they, nuts? It's unnatural. Now a man should not lie with a person who is a guy. He should only lie to his wife. The Bible is clear. We're defenders of marriage in 3-button suits. We'll raise our double standard and see who salutes. Defenders of marriage, defending the institution against people who want to get married. Every time we think about same-sex parents, oh my gosh, we exclaim. I mean, to people who want to provide a protective and nurturing family environment, have they no shame? It's so deviant. It's the Lord's holy word, as my second wife said to my third, that a family's based on obligation and fear. We're defenders of marriage, connubial narcs, ever vigilant and patriotic patriarchs. Defenders of marriage, defending the institution against people who want to get married. One summer evening when my woman was doing laundry, I shared a six-pack with an old John Bircher, and oh so wisely he imparted an ancient quandary to ponder. He said it's nature versus legislature. Are people born gay or do they turn gay just to piss off Dick Armey? We're an army of dicks with a militant stance. Let's get the government out of our lives and into our pants. Defenders of marriage, defending the institution against people who want to get married and have their insurance carried and be beneficiaried and be next to the ones they love when they are buried.
Roy Zimmerman's song, Defenders of Marriage, sure says it all. I don't think Roy is an openly gay singer, songwriter, satirist. At least all the other material on his CD, Comic Sutra, Live at Luna Park, is very hetero. Roy's CD was released in 1998 through Metaphor Records, and it was indeed recorded live in performance at Luna Park in West Hollywood, California, which is a pretty openly gay place anyway. Defenders of Marriage is the perfect musical prelude to tonight's studio guest, Anne Stanback of the Connecticut Love Makes a Family Coalition. We'll have a lot to say about marriage, adoption, co-parenting, and domestic partnershipping in our state and elsewhere in a moment here on Gay Spirit, America's longest continuously broadcast radio program specifically devoted to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender issues. Now celebrating the completion of 20 years of uninterrupted week-by-week installments here over listener-supported WWUH. With us as Gay Spirit's companion program for more than 12 of those 20 years is This Way Out, America's internationally transmitted lesbian and gay radio magazine. This Way Out goes out to in excess of 125 radio stations in 8 countries and is transmitted worldwide on the shortwave band. WWUH was on the original list of subscribers when This Way Out premiered way back in April of 1988. Since that time, there has been a full hour of gay programming on WWUH on Thursday evenings. First comes the current half-hour-long installment of This Way Out, beginning at 8 p.m., followed immediately at 8:30 by another 30 minutes of locally produced Gay Spirit, bringing you up to 9 o'clock. You can listen to this Gay Spirit, This Way Out, and all the rest of WWUH's full-spectrum alternative programming on your home computer in real-time audio. To access all of this audio richness, log on through your PC at http://wwuh.org. Before we talk with Anne Stanback, an important programming note. Next Thursday, December 14th, This Way Out and Gay Spirit will be heard 1 hour later than usual in order to accommodate the broadcast earlier in the evening of a University of Hartford Hawks basketball game. Listen for This Way Out from 9 to 9:30 and Gay Spirit from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. There will be 4 more Thursdays over the winter season when gay programming will be aired from 9 to 10 p.m. The last such date will be Thursday, February 22nd. I will continue to remind you, listeners, about the time changes as these 4 Thursday shows approach. This Way Out in Gay Spirit will be delayed in starting time by approximately 5 minutes on Thursday, December 28th, also because of a basketball game broadcast. After my conversation with Anne Stanback, holiday music from the Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus, as recorded at one of their past holiday concerts. I learned from their latest press release that their holiday concert for this year already opened on Saturday, December 2nd at Town Hall in Provincetown. But the 4 performances that follow will be at 4 different locations across the state of Connecticut this coming weekend and the weekend after that. Get the details about the Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus Survivor Christmas in the community calendar segment of tonight's show just before we close at 9 p.m. I'll have other announcements for you, too, in the closing minutes. Music by openly gay artists you can't get to hear anywhere else on the FM band. Interviews with movers and shakers in our state's lesbian-gay community. Announcements of interest to our community, and so much more as Gay Spirit forges on into its 3rd decade of service. Yes, and Anne Stanback is indeed with me here in our air studio tonight. You're the new president of the coalition.
I am, and I'm very glad to be here tonight.
Love Makes a Family Coalition. When did it get started?
We started a little over a year ago. We started in response to a Connecticut Supreme Court case called the Baby Z case, which dealt with second parent adoption or co-parent adoption for same-sex couples.
Yeah, Baby Z was simply the cipher for an anonymous infant. The anonymity of the child was maintained in the course of a kind of legal struggle.
That's correct. And the Connecticut Supreme Court, in their ruling, basically felt that their hands were tied because of Connecticut's adoption laws, but really sent the case, in effect, to the legislature, saying, this is in the best interest of children in Connecticut.
Yeah.
We need to change these adoption laws.
Yeah, the situation was the child was the adopted child of one parent.
That's correct.
But a second parent, the partner of the other parent, a same-sex person, also wanted to have co-equal rights as parent to the child.
That's right. And she wanted that legal relationship with the child, but as we heard time and again in the testimony around that bill in the legislature, this was best for children. I mean, it ensured that they received inheritance rights, that they received Social Security, that they had a legal connection to this person who was their parent, who was raising them in every way a legal parent would.
Yeah. Well, what if one parent, the one who was legally adopted under Connecticut laws, should die suddenly? What would happen to the child?
It could be a horror story.
Yeah.
If you had unsupportive family, that child could end up with relatives who had no real connection to the child. But fortunately, we were successful in the legislature this last session in 2000. And we're only the second state in the country to have legislatively passed such a bill.
Oh, great. The Constitution state.
That's right.
Once more is in the forefront of progressive legislation. I was there at the Baby Z hearings at the Connecticut State Capitol, and it was one after another presentation of expert testimony. One of those experts was Maureen Murphy, Connecticut attorney. Is that right? And she has a great deal to do with the Love Makes a Family Coalition.
Maureen is very involved in Love Makes a Family and is one of the main lawyers working on LGBT issues in the state. She has her hands full right now doing adoption after adoption, which is really wonderful, sort of the after effects of this legislation. But she's been in the forefront of working on both adoption and hopefully marriage issue down the road.
I also remember another attorney who I think was from the Metro Boston area, Anne Bonotto.
Mary Bonotto.
Mary Bonotto. And Mary Bonotto also was up in Vermont fighting for the civil union legislation.
Yes, she was one of the co-counsels. She works for an organization called GLAD, Gay and Lesbian Advocates and Defenders, based out of Boston, and has been a real asset already to Love Makes a Family.
So there were high-powered people that were pushing for this.
There were high-powered people. You know, there were people from Yale, from the universities. But I think the most effective, moving testimony was the testimony of those parents who talked about their real lives and talked about, you know, this isn't theoretical. We have children at home, and we want those children to have all the rights and benefits that they're entitled to. Yeah.
Now, there have been three major victories, pieces of progressive legislation that have gone through and become law in the state of Connecticut in the past year or two, right? And these are victories which this coalition can call its own?
Well, when we formed in November of '99, we set 3 goals for ourselves. We were a very narrowly focused coalition because we understood there were other LGBT groups around. The first was the second parent adoption issue, which was successful. The second was supporting the arbitration work that was going on for state employees to get domestic partnership benefits for same-sex couples. That was successful. And the third was a defensive measure to defeat a so-called DOMA, a Defense of Marriage Amendment. We are one of only, there are 35 states in the country that have DOMAs on their books. So we're only one of a handful that does not. And we were able to defeat it. The year before, DOMA was attached to the second parent adoption bill, and rather than have that pass through with that negative legislation, it was decided that we needed to kill the legislation. So that we were able to defeat a DOMA this year was very impressive.
Well, the state of Vermont has no DOMA either, does it?
No, they do not.
And went us one further. Oh, well, after a considerable struggle there.
Right. Well, you know, they had couples who had filed a case with the courts and went up to the Supreme Court. And I think, as listeners know, the court, in a very powerful decision, said the right to have a legalized relationship is a recognition of our common humanity, which I thought was a wonderful phrase. But they basically said, we don't want to decide how that will look. We're sending it back to the legislature. Legislature create either a marriage bill or something that is an equal parallel structure. What they created was what we now know as the civil union law. Yeah.
And there was, as you might expect, a backlash to this. There was the Take Back Vermont movement. There were other things involved in it, but this was the spearhead.
Yeah, or the straw that broke the camel's back. Just sort of one more thing that the Flatlanders, those outsiders that have come into Vermont, bringing change, had brought with them. And I think there was a mixed election. on the positive side, the Governor Dean, kept his seat, and that's very important because he was a very strong advocate of the civil union bill. The Senate maintained control in terms of civil union. The House lost, so we may see some movement in their next session around the whole issue.
Yeah. And the Take Back Vermont movement has not gone away.
No, they have not. They have not. I think it will be very interesting to see what kind of mandate those folks who came in on the Take Back Vermont bandwagon really feel that they need to present up at the legislature.
Yeah. But now, the new goal of the Connecticut Love Makes a Family Coalition is some kind of civil union legislation in our state.
We like to say some kind of legal recognition for equal rights and responsibilities for same-gender couples. Is that marriage? Is that civil union? I think we need to wait and see, and we're not quite sure where that's going to go. But there are people who feel very strongly that marriage and only marriage is true equality, and they feel very strongly that that's what we should go for, and that it's going to be a multi-year battle, and we need to continue to fight. Other people feel if we could get something as strong as the Vermont Civil Union, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, well, the coalition is planning towards that goal now.
Yes. We are already having our members begin to talk to their legislators, and that's something that, I would want to urge anyone listening, if they would like to talk to their legislators. Maybe we can give a phone number at some point. We could talk to you about how to go about doing that, what kind of things we would want you to talk to them about, and then get back to us with their responses.
Yeah.
The grassroots piece is absolutely key, and that was the key in 1991 when we passed the gay rights, civil rights bill, and that's going to be the key this time around.
Well, interested folks are going to have an opportunity early next year to talk about this very issue at Wesleyan on January 30th, Tuesday, January 30th. You're going to have a special presentation, right?
A forum on marriage and civil union. We've got 3 very dynamic speakers, Evan Wolfson from Lambda, Mary Bonato, who we mentioned earlier, from GLAAD, and then a woman named Beth Robinson, who was also an attorney who founded the Freedom to Marry Coalition in Vermont.
Yeah, that's a similar organization, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a chance, I think, for all of us to hear the folks who've been working on this issue for years and years tell us how they see Connecticut in the larger picture. I mean, we are in a very interesting situation. Our marriage laws are work very well in favor of passing some kind of legislation. We don't have a DOMA, and we're a state who has been in the forefront of gay rights for years.
Yeah. Another step in the right direction is this little pamphlet that the Connecticut Civil Liberties Union has recently published. I think you're familiar with this.
That's a wonderful pamphlet.
Yeah, well, it's titled now, Civil Unions, What Same-Sex Couples in Connecticut Should Know. That is to say, about the laws as they stand now on the books in our state.
That's right, and what the Vermont civil union law really means. That pamphlet actually was a brainstorm of Attorney Maureen Murphy and was co-produced with the Connecticut Women's Education and Legal Fund. And I think it lays out, this is something. It's not marriage, but it's as close to marriage as we have right now, and it's not something to jump into lightly, because once you go to Vermont and have a civil union, your status is no longer as a single person, and to end that relationship, you have to go through what is basically a divorce process in Vermont. So this, again, is it's wonderful, but it's not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, maybe I ought to tell people that you can get in touch with the Connecticut Civil Liberties Union if you want this little pamphlet. It's like a dozen pages or less of very to-the-point information about this subject. Phone them, 860-247-9823. Fax to CCLU, 860-728-0287. And maybe you should get in touch with the Connecticut Lesbian and Gay Law Association. Would they be distributing this?
Well, also QUELF at 860-247-6090.
That's Connecticut Women's Education and Legal Fund.
Very good.
Advocacy organization.
Yes.
For causes related to gay issues. Yeah. Now, and another step in the right direction is the amazing amount of publicity that this and associated issues have gotten in the local press over the past
Hasn't that been
couple
wonderful?
of weeks. Yeah. Last week on this show, I made it a point of telling the listeners to look at the issue of the Hartford Advocate that has a picture of two same-sex parents and their adoptive child in color photograph, and a beautiful feature article on the McCallans and their struggles to obtain full legal recognition
and
of their relationship.
Hopefully they will have that adoption formalized very shortly.
Yeah. Then there's the Faith Middleton show, too.
Yes. Attorney Maureen Murphy did a show on marriage a week ago, I guess it was, last Friday, and I had good response in terms of call-ins, and I think Faith...
She put Maureen Murphy on the air and gave a real complete treatment in an hour or less of the subject. And, of course, what we're telling you folks tonight. Now, it's important as we wrap up to let the listeners know how they can get in touch with your organization, Anne.
Let me give a phone number. They can call in the greater Hartford area, 860-676-9635. And we can put you in touch with, we've got different district groups around the state, so we can put you in touch with the coordinators in your area. And you can do as little as come to a meeting and sit back and listen. We have our next statewide meeting on February 21st at the New Haven Gay and Lesbian Community Center. To getting very involved, working with legislators, helping us get out to community groups and talk about this organization and this issue.
I have an email address here for folks that are interested. Email Chelsea at bettygallo.com. Chelsea, Chelsea, at Betty Gallo, all one word, BettyGallo.com. Email those folks, and you will also get information about the Connecticut Love Makes a Family Coalition. And we've been talking with its new president, Anne Stanback, about what's the latest. The struggle goes on, Anne, doesn't it?
It does, and this, I believe, will be the civil rights struggle of this next decade.
Thanks for talking with me.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I guess the chorus line must have formed on stage, and chorus members must have frolicked and danced the hula in grass skirts before a delighted audience, as you could hear in Christmas on the Beach at Waikiki. That number was taped live in performance at New Haven's Church on the Green in December 1990. It was part of a holiday concert for that year, given by the Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus. Excerpts from that concert were released on a tape cassette titled Winter Song. And the concept of Christmas on a tropical isle is also part of the theme of the concert for this year, a Survivor Christmas. What if tonight was the night your future would be determined at Tribal Council and you couldn't find just the right accessories? And exactly where do you stuff a rat roast? Well, you'll find out if you attend Survivor Christmas, the Connecticut Gay Men's holiday event. It was premiered Saturday, December 2nd at Town Hall in Provincetown, but there will be 4 performances throughout the state of Connecticut, beginning Saturday, December 9th at 8 p.m. at the Lyman Center on the campus of Southern Connecticut State University in New Haven. Then a matinee at 4 p.m. Sunday, December 10th at the Quick Center on the campus of Fairfield University in Fairfield. The following weekend, Saturday, December 16th at 8 p.m., the chorus come up here to the Wallace Stevens Theater in the Hartford Complex in Hartford. The final show, a matinee at 4 p.m., Sunday, December 17th at Ives Auditorium in Whitehall on the campus of Western Connecticut State University in Danbury. In addition to the 50 singing men of the chorus, Survivor Christmas will offer guest appearances by Julia Child, a certain Mr. Kringle, Tinky Winky, a whimsical look at Christmas in Heaven, high kicks, low comedy, and traditional carols, and sparkling new arrangements. Tickets for Survivor Christmas are available now by calling Connecticut Gay Men's Chorus at their hotline, 1-800-644-2462. Fax for your tickets, 203-777-3646, or get them by email at ctgmc@inetmail.att.net. And speaking of shows, Howard Crabtree's award-winning musical comedy When Pigs Fly will be presented in Norwalk 6 times in January by the Triangle Community Center, the gay community center serving Fairfield County. When Pigs Fly will be presented 5 evenings at 8 p.m., January 12th, 13th, and 18th through 20th. And a matinee performance will be added 3 p.m. on January the 14th. It's a benefit show for the Triangle Community Center of Norwalk. And When Pigs Fly is the winner of 2 Drama Desk Awards, including Best Musical Review and 2 Outer Critics Circle Awards as well. It's the story of Howard Crabtree, a man who dreams of a life in musical theater, adorned by spectacular costumes and surrounded by theatrical magic. The title is derived from Howard's high school guidance counselor's prediction that he will secure a career in musical theater when pigs fly. And wasn't he wrong then? So, for tickets to When Pigs Fly at Triangle Community Center, call the box office, area code 203-324-2691, or for further information, visit www.geocities.com/WhenPigsFly2001, or contact Michael Collins, area code 203-582-8984 on weekdays during business hours. Well, that does it for Gay Spirit for this Thursday evening. Be back with us every Thursday night from 8:30 to 9 p.m. for more information and entertainment for Greater Hartford's lesbian and gay community. And this is Keith Brown wishing you a real gay week and good night for Gay Spirit.
Singing.